from beautiful Brisbane, Australia. How are you this morning? And welcome to Complex PTSD TV. My name's Linda. I'm your certified trauma recovery coach, and welcome to today's episode. And we're going to talk about complex PTSD and procrastination and why it isn't really procrastination for us. Okay, maybe sometimes, but not all the time. There are several facets that we need to be able to look at in order that we understand what's happening internally for us. If you're here for the first time, welcome. It's great to have you here. And if you're here as part of our normal morning class, welcome. It's great to have you here again. Let me know where you are in the world. It's been amazing getting to know everyone from around the world as we do. Now, with procrastination and complex PTSD, there are a number of things that we need to build into our awareness. So it's one of those things that I'm going to give you each part of what's happening for you internally, and the sheet can be printed out from our free complex PTSD library, and you can take it to your therapist, to your trauma recovery coach, to a mentor, to sit down and nut out exactly where you're at, because it's important that you're able to understand what's happening internally in order that you can take your one next step forward, so that not only are you not procrastinating, you're understanding that with complex PTSD, procrastination takes on a whole different level of interference in our life, interference in our day-to-day life. So when procrastination happens, it's because when we were kids, we felt afraid, we felt fearful, and when something happens, whether it's boring or we feel that something's going to take forever to do, it kicks into this old programming that we've had in childhood, where something fearful is going to last forever. So it's a perception thing. So in childhood, it's like our brain gets wired that whatever's happening to us, I'm so sorry, excuse me for a minute, it really is autumn here, but summer hasn't got the message. And I've been to gym and done trauma-informed movement this morning, and I'm still like, please, can we have some cool weather? Okay, so what happens at a neurological level for us is that in our childhood, we take on a whole perception that what's happening to us, so the abuse is going to, or the abandonment is going to last forever. All right, so this fear is ongoing. We have no concept of time as a child, as a very young child. You know, we aren't taught time, certainly until we get to around 4 or 5 in my life. Obviously, it's different for everybody. But what happens in adulthood is part of the perception is that I'm going to ignore what I have to do because it's going to take forever, or I'm afraid of getting it done. And we have mixed emotions around it. So we haven't put what's happened in the past internally into a sequential order at our brain level, all right? So in our amygdala, we've still got unprocessed emotions that are there, and it's not until we do our recovery journey that we begin to be able to process them and put them into an order. So as we go through adulthood, the stress that we take on, and especially if we don't actually know how much pressure us and how it's impacting our day-to-day life, right? We don't know this. We keep telling ourselves that we should be able to do this because I'm an adult. I should be able to get the dishes done. I should be able to have a shower every day. I should be able to get up and go to work every day. Lots of shoulds, and in part we're right, we're adults, this should happen normally. What we don't understand is because of the perception that's still ongoing from childhood, is that, and then the overwhelming stress of adulthood, where we don't actually know how to do a lot of things, we just know that we should be able to do them, it's all a very big impact in our life, okay? Now, memory. Memory plays a really big role in complex trauma and procrastination, all right? So as our memory centers, my notes are all, complex trauma impacts our memory centers, and our ability to put things in an order is impaired in varying degrees. So like when I lost all my cognitive function, I lost all my memory as well. So I had no memory on how to do things, how to do the dishes, how to put things in an order. And it wasn't until I went through the recovery process that I was actually able to regain a lot of my memory and also regain a lot of the happy memories too. And it's taken a lot of time for that to happen. So our perception combined with our lack of cognitive function can impair our memory. So as we go about our day-to-day, we don't remember that we've got stuff to do. We I don't know about you, but I get sidetracked and forget, just totally forget that, in the next 5 minutes I was going to make a phone call, or I was going to do dishes, or I was going to go out and get shopping. Whatever it is, we forget, okay? And even though it sounds simple, it's actually very complicated for us. So don't beat yourself up if your memory is not happening, but do know that you can increase it. You can improve on it as we improve cognitive function. Dissociation also plays a big role in procrastination. All right. So if we go through our day-to-day life and we've got an abandonment wound, we are living on dissociation and we don't know it. And so when we're dissociating, we're not here now. So we're going to forget everything that we wanted to do. Okay, does that make sense? It's just, it's not something that we've had control over, but it's something that we can work towards regaining, building into our reality that we can change things up. All right. So with our perception, we need to do the internal work to understand what perception we are carrying at the moment that is impeding us from taking our one next step. So remember, perception is how we see and understand what happens around us. We need to switch up our perception to that of an adult taking full responsibility for my life, not full responsibility for other people's lives. All right, which brings us into the next part, which is people pleasing. We have to be willing to stop people pleasing and start developing our own sense of self. Now, a sense of self is actually a part of our brain that does need to be developed in order that we move through life with our inner strength happening, which allows us to live life by our own values, our own morals. It gives us the ability to say no. It gives us the ability to say yes for what we want in our day-to-day life, not what we perceive that other people want us to be. And we stop having to wear a mask, and we start living by choice where we want to go as an adult. And it's a very big difference that impacts our life, impacts our day-to-day life. People say to me, "You're so strong," and I think, I'm not. I just know that if I make a certain choice, what happens in the next 5 steps after I make that choice. So I think about the decisions I'm going to make more than I just act on impulse. Okay? Now we need to begin working on order. We need to begin putting time into place. And we're going to talk about that tomorrow. How do we keep things on time when we've got all of this happening? So lack of memory, we've got dissociation, we've got perceptions that we need to change. And then we've got to work towards having order. So tomorrow I'll go into how we can begin to change that order. There is a booklet in the free library on things that I need to achieve in my day that I'm unconsciously avoiding because they're boring, because it feels like they'll take forever and they'll, cut into the things that I'm enjoying in my day. And what it's done for me is two things. One, I don't make lists anymore. Lists of these are the things I need to remember. And then I look at the list during the day and go, yep, I've looked at my list to remember. And as I do that, it builds into my day-to-day life a deepening awareness of what I need daily. There's no pressure involved, and that's one of the things that's crucial to recovery, is there's not a lot of pressure to do things somebody else's way, because we've grown up believing if I'm perfect, then I'm not going to get hurt. All right? It created inflexible thinking, and we need to be able to go, right, I'm going to put the inflexible thinking down, and I'm going to start working out what I like to do as an adult, what I need to do as an adult, where my responsibilities lie for myself, and how I need to aim for and set up and achieve those responsibilities, okay? All right, so there's a lot to think about this morning. So I have put it all together in a sheet for you, so you can sit down with your therapist, you can sit down with your trauma coach and work through this just one step at a time and integrate the new information. Thanks for coming along and joining in this morning, and I will respond to all your comments. Have the most gorgeous day and the most wonderful evening, and remember, you are loved and you belong. Bye for now.